The Vothari court fell silent. David Reyes stood alone under the spotlight. His joke about human clumsiness had just died.
So a human walks into a Vothari court. If your next words fail to amuse, your world will burn.
Don't faint. Breathe. You knew this could be the end of everything.
3 weeks earlier, a human ambassador accidentally laughed during a sacred Vothari ritual. The Empire demanded an apology or total war. Earth's leaders had no one willing to face the alien wrath. In desperation, they turned to an unlikely candidate. David Reyes was a stand-up comedian known for self-deprecation. He was the last person anyone expected to become a diplomat. 2 grim officials cornered him in a comedy club. "You are the only one who can do this. Make them laugh, or we all die." He studied Vothari culture obsessively, learning their myths and taboos. Every joke he wrote mocked himself, not them. The Vothari capital's spires clawed at a purple sky. David stepped off the ship, a comedian walking into the abyss. Now the Emperor's threat echoed in the silence. David took a breath. One more chance to make an empire laugh or watch his world burn. David leaned into the mic, the spotlight scalding him. He began the only apology he had, a comedy set.
Your Imperial Majesty, thank you for not vaporizing me yet. That's better service than most gigs on Earth.
The Vothari court stared, their stone faces unreadable. No one had ever greeted their emperor so casually.
Humans are clumsy. We trip into rituals, laugh at disasters, then send a comedian to apologize because our diplomats are still hiding under the table.
Several courtiers exchanged glances. This alien was insulting his own species. Why?
Don't laugh, but he called himself a fool in front of the Emperor, and it's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
You mock your people. Do you mock us as well, human?
Majesty, I am a fool. Earth sent because no one clever enough would face you. I mock myself for thinking I could make an empire laugh.
This is not an apology. Grovel, or the consequences will be severe.
You may continue. Amuse us or don't.
Your world has a tale about a hero who tripped at the Festival of Starlight. You teach children. Even the great stumble, but only the wise smile.
The court stiffened. Such children's stories were sacred, never shared with outsiders, and he just recited one from memory.
Now, picture a human blundering into that holy rite. Clumsy, panicked until a Vothari elder simply laughs and forgives.
A few senior courtiers nodded slowly. David wasn't mocking Vothari culture. He was using it to make humans the fool, and them the sage. Jorath's grin broke free, eyes crinkling with pure delight. He was too young, too honest to hide it any longer. High Chancellor Zalith, however, remained carved from ice, her glare sharp enough to cut stone.
That elder's mercy is what I've read about your great empire. I am just a fool holding up a mirror, hoping you'll see your own reflection.
The Emperor watched in absolute silence, his 4 eyes unblinking. Not a twitch, not a sound.
If a Vothari child can learn the value of a stumble, surely 2 civilizations can learn to laugh at one shared misunderstanding.
David had turned their own treasured lore into a bridge. Now the entire court paused, breath held, waiting for the Emperor to speak.
I've been reading your sacred texts. Not one joke. Hundreds of verses about honor. 0 about laughter. So I thought, I'll bring my own.
A reluctant chuckle rippled through the back rows. Even a few senior courtiers cracked a smile.
Silence. This mockery desecrates our ancestors. You will kneel and deliver a proper apology, or face execution.
The laughter died. Jorath's hands clenched until his knuckles paled.
I am a fool, High Chancellor. I am not ashamed of it. But can you say the same?
The challenge hung in the crystal air. Vothari never admitted weakness. To do so was worse than death.
You risk much, human. We will recess. Guards, take him to a holding cell. I will deliberate.
Guards seized David's arms and pulled him from the platform. The spotlight fell empty.
I've just signed Earth's death warrant. They'll remember this as the day a clown killed a world.
The cell bars hummed and sealed. David sat in the half-dark, alone with the echo of his own stupid courage. The energy barrier flickered. Jorath appeared beyond it, eyes darting back for guards.
I shouldn't be here, but I had to know. How can you stand there and call yourself a fool?
Then why did you smile? You are the only one who did.
To laugh at yourself is to admit fault. In Vothari culture, that means you have no honor left.
So my act was seen as surrender. You all thought I was pathetic?
Yes, but it didn't feel pathetic. It felt dangerous. Like you had a power we've been taught to fear, because it felt like freedom. For one moment, I didn't have to be perfect. I could just be.
There's a crack in their wall of honor. I just need to widen it.
If you don't apologize properly, the Emperor will execute you. They'll never accept your kind of strength.
Then I'll show them a different kind. One that laughs at the very idea of shame.
The court reconvened under the floating chandeliers. David was shoved back onto the platform, the spotlight now a cold blade.
Human, you will bow. Deliver the formal apology or face execution.
Apology for what? Your philosophers taught that imperfection fuels growth. I am proving them right.
Young courtiers leaned forward, their earlier contempt replaced by raw curiosity. Jorath held his breath.
Do not twist our teachings. Perfection is our shield.
Your beloved tale begins with a hero tripping. Even the great stumble. Only the wise laugh.
Emperor Vikarn sat motionless, 4 eyes watching, a mind spinning behind marble stillness. The debate had shifted. This was a contest over the soul of the Empire.
Remove this creature. He corrupts the air with weakness.
No guard moved. The Emperor had not spoken. The court was a split wound, half enraged, half entranced, and David stood at its center.
You, Vothari, are magnificently melodramatic. You turn a simple laugh into a galactic crisis because you've never learned to chuckle at yourselves.
The court gasped. That was the closest anyone had come to an open insult in centuries.
Execute him. Now.
A general in red armor stepped onto the platform, hand wrapping around his weapon.
Ah, so you can only find comedy in my death. That's the saddest joke I've ever heard.
The Emperor's hand rose. The general froze.
Why should we laugh at your weakness, human? What strength do you claim to show us?
The strength to admit you are not perfect. To face a mistake and smile, that is a fortress no enemy can breach.
Murmurs spread through the court. Some stared as if seeing a new color for the first time. David knew the next words from the Emperor would decide everything. He held his breath, a comedian dangling between worlds.
Majesty. The ambassador's laugh was not insult. It was awe, a clumsy human reaction to something so magnificent. It broke her composure. We laugh when we're overcome. We've done it for millennia. It's a fault, yes, but one born of wonder, not contempt. Could this not be the first shared joke between our peoples? A misunderstanding that ends with a smile?
Perhaps we, too, could learn to laugh at mistakes.
Silence, boy. You shame the court.
But the Emperor's gaze lingered on Jorath, then on David. Something unreadable passed behind his eyes.
You have one final chance, human. Prepare a set that convinces me you are not merely a fool. Fail, and your world ends.
One set to laugh an empire out of war. No pressure.
Guards led him back to the cell. The clock had started, ticking toward doomsday. In the cold cell, David sat cross-legged on the bench, a holographic projection of Vothari, texts flickering before him.
I can't use standard human humor. They laugh at the wrong things. Need to find what makes them tick.
I brought something. Many young Vothari are watching. They want you to win.
Then help me. Listen to this. War over a laugh. The cosmos will weep at our funeral. Or maybe just chuckle.
Jorath laughed, loud and sudden, a crystalline burst that echoed off the walls.
Wait. That was the serious part. You laughed at the serious part.
Yes, the weight of it. Then the twist. It's unexpected. We Vothari laugh at the clash, not the stumble.
Incongruity. They laugh at the contrast, not the self-deprecation. I've been aiming at the wrong target.
He tore apart his old material, weaving a fable where the serious emperor becomes the fool through cosmic irony. By the time the guards came, David had a new weapon, the truth wrapped in a joke, aimed at the heart of their honor. The throne room was packed, courtiers squeezed shoulder to shoulder. Emperor Vekarn had moved his throne forward, the spotlight blazing like a verdict.
Majesty, honored court, a laugh almost killed us all. So today, I am not apologizing. I am telling a story.
A holographic projection bloomed beside him. Two stylized figures, one human, one Vothari, locked in a comical standoff.
Two proud civilizations stared at each other across a table. One small sound of amusement, and both prepared for war. The human envoy tripped on his ceremonial robe, classic human move, and landed face first in the sacred soup.
A few young Vothari leaned forward, drawn by a character they were allowed to laugh at. Jorath's eyes shone.
But the Vothari ambassador, he was so bound by protocol that he couldn't laugh. Couldn't admit that soup in the face is objectively hilarious.
A murmur rippled through the court. David had turned their dignity into a punchline, and it felt strangely true.
The human, covered in soup, looked up and laughed. Not at the Vothari, but at himself. In that moment, war became impossible.
Silence fell. The court saw their own reflection, and for the first time, they weren't sure they were the heroes.
The two empires nearly burned for nothing, until a fool pointed out the absurdity. I am that fool.
The court gasped. He had twisted their own honor into a mirror, and they couldn't look away.
You Vothari bow for 43 ritual seconds before greeting. Humans just wave, often with soup on our sleeves.
Jorath's laugh cracked the silence. Loud, crystalline, and a dozen young courtiers joined him.
Your ceremonial script has 17 approved smiles. I think this one qualifies.
Zalith's mouth twitched upward, a tiny rebellion against millennia of control. Emperor Vekarn remained still as carved stone, but a glint flickered in his four eyes, something almost alive.
Majesty, I am not here to conquer. Laughter is the one weapon that heals both sides.
More laughter rippled through the back rows. Even senior courtiers forgot to hide their smiles. The laughter echoed in the ancient hall. But the emperor had not yet spoken. The court held its breath, balanced on a knife's edge. The laughter spread, rusty at first, then roaring. Alien joy spilled where only silence had lived for millennia.
Let me be honest. Standing here is the most terrifying thing I've ever done. My heart is trying to negotiate a separate peace treaty with my feet.
The court erupted, not at the joke, but at the raw, impossible truth of a creature admitting fear aloud.
We all fear being the first to laugh. That kid over there, he was brave enough to be the first. Now look at this.
The throne room filled with a sound no Vothari had ever heard, full, helpless, communal laughter. Salith's mask finally cracked. A small smile escaped, and she didn't crush it. Emperor Vekarn watched the madness, his four eyes wide, processing something that could not be unlearned.
Your empire once feared laughter. Now listen to what it sounds like when you let go.
The laughter kept growing, but the emperor had still not spoken. His silence was the last locked door. The court was a storm of mirth, yet all eyes stole glances at the throne. One laugh could change history, or one word could end it. The emperor rose. The laughter died, replaced by a silence so deep you could hear a star's hum. He walked through the court, carved from purpose, until his shadow swallowed the human. The corners of his mouth twitched, a flicker, barely a suggestion, but it held the weight of an empire.
You have shown us a new form of strength, David Reyes. One we did not know existed. We will not go to war over a laugh. Perhaps we should learn to share in it.
The words unspooled through the hall, rewriting millennia of doctrine in a single breath.
But you will remain. You will teach my people this art. That is the price for your world's life.
I saved Earth, and now I am a prisoner. A gilded cage, but a cage. I'll do it for Earth.
The court exhaled. The war was over. But David's new war had just begun. The throne room erupted into chaos. Joyful, alien chaos. Courtiers broke rank, surging toward their unlikely savior.
They're asking about irony, about timing. They understand nothing yet.
In a corner, the human diplomats wept and hugged, their tablets flashing, war averted in bold letters. That night, alone in his assigned chamber, David sat on the edge of the bed and let the mask slip.
I am a hero and a hostage. They'll never let me go home, will they?
The emperor summoned him. The command was velvet wrapped around iron. A grand tour of the empire, spreading laughter as a weapon of peace.
You will travel to every major world. You will be a symbol. Refusal is not an option.
Understood, Majesty.
The tour began on a craggy moon under twin suns. David stepped onto a stage built for rituals, not comedy.
They laugh when I am serious. They're silent when I joke. I am a monument, not a comedian.
On the fourth moon, he abandoned his prepared set and spoke from the chest.
My father died when I was 22. He left me a box of jokes he never told.
The crowd erupted, a wave of alien laughter, clear and cruel.
That wasn't comedy. That was open heart surgery. And they're clapping.
He tried harder, telling them about the funeral, the rain, the silence.
Even the priest couldn't keep a straight face. He said, "Your father would have wanted a punchline."
Again, laughter, louder, emptier. David felt something inside him crack.
I am famous for being a freak. They laugh when I am honest. That's the real performance.
After the show, he sat alone in the dressing closet, the applause still rattling the walls.
I am the galaxy's first comedian puppet, dancing while my soul leaks out. They call it art.
On a world of gray stone and rigid tradition, David sensed the silence before the storm. 3 cloaked figures vaulted onto the stage, crystal blades humming, a genuine interruption.
Ah, finally critics who get it. I was worried you were all bots.
The audience, believing it part of the act, erupted in nervous laughter. One assassin hesitated, his blade wavering. David leaned into the mic.
Careful with that. My insurance covers alien invasions, not bad reviews.
The crowd howled, and the assassins faltered. Their deadly moment had been stolen and repurposed. Shouts from security. The cloaked figures scrambled off stage, shamed and exposed.
They wanted to silence me, but I turned their weapon into a laugh. Still, I felt the cold edge of real death. I am not just a comedian anymore. I am a target. I need to find a way out before the next act kills me.
David requested a private audience with the emperor. In a chamber walled by stars, he stood before the obsidian throne.
I've fulfilled my duty. The war is averted. Your people are learning to laugh. Let me go home.
You are a symbol, David Reyes. Letting you go would signal that my decree can be undone.
I am not a symbol. I am a man who made people laugh. Keep me here as a cage, and I'll stop being funny.
Then I will find another. Your humor is a tool, not a soul.
Then let me earn my freedom. One final performance. Make you truly laugh, and I walk free.
The emperor's silence stretched, a blade hanging by a thread.
If you fail to make me laugh, I will not let you leave, and your Earth will pay a higher price.
I accept.
David left the chamber with a new deadline: make an emperor laugh, or doom his world. The final countdown had begun. The capital square stretched to the sky, packed with thousands of Vothari. David Reyes walked onto the tallest stage ever built for a joke.
Majesty, Empire, I first told a joke in your throne room. Today, I tell the truth with a laugh track. I came here a fool, thinking I could make stone laugh. Instead, You taught me what real humor is. Your pride is magnificent. You nearly went to war over a giggle. That's dedication.
He wove a character into the set, a noble ruler, wise and stern, who never once smiled at himself.
This emperor could recite every law, but a child's giggle was gibberish, until someone tripped into his sacred soup.
The character became the gentle butt of the jest, growing lovelier with each admission of imperfection. Emperor Vikarn watched from his box, 4 eyes fixed on the tiny figure who dared to describe him.
Your Majesty, even the sun can stop shining to laugh at a cloud. End your war on laughter, and let it rain.
Across the empire, billions held still. The punchline of ages had been delivered. Now the universe waited. Emperor Vekharn threw back his head and laughed, a genuine rolling laugh that shattered centuries of imperial silence. The sound echoed across the plaza, through the planetary relays, until every Vothari heard their sovereign laugh at himself. The crowd detonated. 1,000,000 alien voices rose in raw, healing joy.
I have taught you to laugh. Now, it's your turn to teach each other. I am going home.
The Vothari rose as one, a human theater custom they'd learned, their 4-fingered hands lifted in a gesture of absolute release. David bowed, tears carving clean lines through the spotlight's glow.
I did it. Earth is safe, and I can finally walk away.
He turned and walked into the wings, the spotlight lingering on empty air. The ovation rolled on, a new heartbeat for an empire learning to be imperfect. David Reyes, the fool who laughed an empire out of war, vanished into the dark. His work was done. Back on Earth, David stepped onto a dingy club stage. The neon laugh track sign flickered behind him.
So, I once told a joke in an alien throne room.
The human crowd stared blankly. No one laughed. The material that ended a war was just alien here. Meanwhile, across the stars, Vothari comedy clubs bloomed. A holoscreen showed a Vothari comedian bowing to thunderous applause. David sat alone at a bar, a news feed flickering. Vothari Comedy Festival breaks records. His face was unreadable.
I saved 2 civilizations, and now I am the one who doesn't get the joke.
A message chimed. It was from Jorath, now a famous comedian. A holographic clip played.
I told a joke about humans. They sent a comedian to apologize and ended up creating an empire of laughter. The crowd loved it.
David chuckled, a real, involuntary sound. He shook his head.
My legacy is out there, mangling my jokes. And maybe that's exactly what I wanted.
Years later, a quieter David sat in a near-empty bar, gray at the temples, a crystalline pendant glowing softly against his chest. On the wall, a holographic broadcast of the Vothari Comedy Festival played to a sparse late-night audience. A young Vothari comedian, tail twitching with nerves, stepped up and delivered a joke about humans, the punchline completely misplaced. David watched, a private smile tugging at the corner of his mouth.
That's not even the right punchline, but they're laughing.
He shook his head, the pendant catching the bar's amber light. The young Vothari comedian took an awkward bow, and the alien crowd roared with delight.
I'll never understand what they find funny. And maybe that's the point.
He lifted his glass slightly, a toast to the galaxy that had learned to laugh, even if it was always at the wrong parts. The pendant hummed, a tiny heartbeat from a friend across the stars. David sighed, at peace with the joke he'd become. A young human at the bar stared at David, recognition dawning like a slow sunrise. He leaned forward. Are you David Reyes, the guy who taught an entire alien empire to laugh? David turned, his wry, practiced smile surfacing from years of wearing it.
Yeah, kid. But here's the thing. They still laugh at the wrong parts.
The young human's expression nodded into puzzled awe. David chuckled, turned back to his drink, the pendant humming softly against his chest. On the hollow screen, the young Vothari comedian bowed to a tidal wave of alien applause. The sound of alien laughter washed over the quiet bar, a warm, wrong punchline tide that filled every corner. And somewhere between a joke and a warship, humanity had found its most disarming